Good morning. It's Saturday morning, October 7th, 2017. I'm going to do a summary movie here. I've been doing some videos. They're posted on YouTube, and I'm just going to build on those. I'll add this one to YouTube also, but I'll also send it to you for a direct download. Now, I'm going to go ahead and with the group inclusion reports, I'll click up here to begin this process. I'll clear it. Notice that my last entry down here was on the short side, so I'll do the short side first just so I don't have to type short again. It's just a time saver. So I'm going to load this, load the shorts. Notice that these are going to be, this is data from the 6th. I'm going to make a group from report. All I have to do is go in and make that number 6. Now, for later use in my groups, when I save smart groups and so on, I'll use this date again. So I'll just do a Control C to save that for myself. So let's go ahead and generate the short side. And now I'm going to go back. I'm going to click on this. I'm going to do the long side now. I'll clear this. I will then load the selection, top 50. And now make group from report. Now all I have to do is get rid of that short, and there is my top 50 group. On the long side, you can generate it if you want to. I'll go ahead and generate this index, and here are the long side top 50 stocks. I'm not going to spend any time on the HTML right now, but I'm going to go in here and I'm going to click on the warehouse, and the view that I want is in my top-down process. It's scorecard end of day. Now, I was using this view in some of the other videos. It's a very helpful view because we have a tremendous amount of information here based upon the combo, which is demand end of day, because I'm working with end of day data. This combo is both technical and fundamental. This is an old combo that I've been using for years. It still works, so I have not modified it. As I pointed out in one of the earlier videos, the first thing I notice is all the green here. Look at the trends over here, the VPA trends that are in the program. There are lots of VPA signals today. I'm sorted on that raw combo. As I said, look what's at the top: Applied Materials, NVIDIA, Netflix, Micron, Alibaba, Trade Desk, Take-Two, General Motors. I mean, these are all stocks at the top that we're all familiar with, and there are many stocks in here that have appeared time after time. I'm going to do a few things here. I'm going to sort on the industry group. Let's just take a look at that index. This is a chart that I'm providing to you in the downloads. If you look under basic charts, I mentioned this in some of the other videos. I've added a couple of charts here. I'm experimenting with them. Now this does me no good on the weekend because I'm not looking at the intraday data. So if I use chart number 15 on the weekend, at least I get some more information. I did design these charts primarily for intraday use, but I can look up here and see when the last VPA signal was. In the group here, it was today, and these are the trends. You can see the trends are all up. Force indexes are up. The VPOC is up. I'll use this chart for a little while on some of these other stocks. But you look over here, you can see where the strength is, or where it was on Friday. It's in the semiconductor manufacturing and devices, and that's where it's been for a long time. Or if there's a very short-term correction, it always comes back to this. Now let's look at this through this spectrum analyzer. You can see that this is dominated by semiconductor manufacturing, and these are mostly very familiar names down here. I'm going to minimize that just to keep it open, and First of all, I want to look for stocks that have had recent VPA flags. So I'm going to do a secondary sort here. I'm sorted on the industry groups, and if you click on A to Z, you'll see that it brings this window up. The next thing I want to do is I want to do a days since. I'll go under chart patterns, volume, price analysis, days since the last VPA signal, and I'll put it on ascending. And what that does is if we go down, or if I go down here to the semiconductor manufacturing and look over here, this is the days since the last VPA signal. You don't have to do this, but these are the ones with the most recent signals. Now Kohu had a high volume up bar closing. Well, if I open this up, it closing on the high, which indicates strength. So let's go ahead and take a look at Kohu. We'll get this out of the way, and you can see that that VPA flag is generated right here. This stock is in a strong uptrend. You can see this over here. Actually, it was a short-term downtrend, but now it is finding support. Here was support going back here, and it is sitting on it, and then we're getting a VPA flag on pretty decent volume. This is a potential candidate for Monday. This market, I did some analysis earlier, and it looks like it's going to hold together. So I'm going to put this in my watch list. So I'm going to add, or use quick add to group. I'm going to choose this. Going to go down to watch list, enter September. I'm going to say new. The date on Monday will be the 10th, but I'm using the data from the 6th, so I always date it, my watch lists on the date that of the data that I'm analyzing. So here is, remember I copied that, I just paste that in here to start a new group. And it will be, well, I put it in September, sorry, let me redo that. First of all, I haven't started in an October watch list, have I? So 2017 10 October. No. All right. Now let's go back and do that again. Sorry about that. So quick add to group, choose group, user groups, watch lists, October, new, V, control V, any chart that I add will go into that folder. Any chart that I add today, I should say. Now you can use alternate G, or you can just right mouse click on the chart and say quick add to group. Now I'm going to switch charts here. I'm going to go to from my basic charts where these two are, and I'm going to go up to my featured charts. And I'm going to use number 2 because it has the fan that I like to use, and also the user groups. And what do we see here? Here we see a very strong user group. We can see that the VPOC is positive on here. There's a volume spike that I pointed out. It's not a volume spike. It's a nice volume moving up, and you can see that the trend is on. So what do? You determine your risk, how much you're willing to use, and you put a buy point in here. Now on the IR method that I use, and I don't use it all the time, but on this there's a couple of buy points. Let me zoom in. Alternate 1 will zoom you in. You could have the buy point, the high of Friday's close on Monday, or you could move a little bit higher, and then you have to determine where your stop is. If your stop is real close, there's a chance you could get stopped out. So you might want to loosen your stop and then base the amount of shares on that. But let's get back to the prospecting. Okay, so that's number 1. Here's a test for supply on form factor. Get rid of the crosshair with alternate C. What do we have here? Alternate 2 gives me a longer look. You can see the trend is very nice here. There's natural reactions. And the stock pretty much follows the group. If this group continues to go up, this stock will go up. Now you always need to be aware of the earnings date. It's coming late this month. But this one needs to go into the watch list also because it's a test for supply. They tried to sell it off, but buyers came in and supported it. It closed near the high of the day on light volume. That's a low volume test, and you'll find that right over here. I'm going to use alternate G this time. I don't know if you could hear the click or not in the video, but it went in there. So I've been talking for a few minutes, and I have two candidates for Monday already. Yes, they've been trending, and they are extended. I mean, this whole market's well, not the whole market, but a lot of the market's extended, especially the tech. So let's go ahead and look at this one. This one on the prior day, if you go back here and look at this, it says 1 day ago. 0 is always today or the crossover day, and here is your test for supply on this stock. This is ACLS. Once again, this looks like a decent candidate. Yes, it gapped up. You can see the immediate profit taking. There was a low volume test. It opened here yesterday, then sold off, but where did it close? It closed in the upper part of its trading range. This one also can go on a watch list. So once again, alternate G or quick add to group. So I've got 3 candidates already in a dominant group. This was 3 days ago. This is an up bar closing near a high, confirmed strength. So let's take a look at it. That would be this one right here. And what happened since then? It pulled back a little bit. Now this is an expensive stock. You can see that. But it too is a candidate. I'm going to leave this one off of here. It tried to go on Friday or off my watch list, but notice that it closed about 50% down on heavier volume. So that tells me that there was selling in here. And by the way, the volume point of control is rose colored rather than green. So it may not be ready to go yet. Obviously, it's still a good candidate though, but I'm going to leave it out of my watch list. Let's look at AMAT. Now AMAT shot up. Look at these signals here on very heavy volume. This is VPA at its finest for illustration. Look at that heavy volume. That is extreme demand. The VPOC turned positive on an effort to rise. You don't always have to buy on pullbacks. This was showing extremely strong demand on these volume bars, and there was a follow through, another one. Now look what happened here. These are candles which, if you look closely at them, they all closed in the upper part of their range on light volume. That means that there was very little selling pressure. Now we did not get another VPA flag here or signal, but this is a flag formation that's forming. Yes, this is a negative VPA flag here. High volume down bar on an up move on high volume indicates weakness. That was high volume. In other words, it's pausing to refresh, hopefully. But this too is a candidate. When is the earnings date here? Not till November 16th. I would put this one in a watch list too. If you want to buy this one, I would probably wait for this high to be taken out. Put a buy stop in just a little bit above that. But notice that this candle engulfed all 3 prior days' losses. The volume wasn't great, but it's certainly worth the risk on this one. I'd put the stop somewhere in under there, because if it goes up here, you get a buy stop. That's a reasonable risk point. So I'm going to add this, and I already have several stocks. Now I don't want to go through this video and analyze every one of these, but I'm going to look at a few more. Let's look at this. This is one that's been coming up. Should have bought it back in here when the flag or the group was moving up. Here's your flag volume coming in, the demand's coming in. There is another effort to rise. There's 3 efforts to rise within 4 days, We have a little pullback here, but then it held, and now here's another effort to rise. Let's just take a look at this. Look at good earnings here. There's no earnings due date that's been published yet. The stock has had quite a move already. I doubt if I would chase it now, but it's a decent looking stock. This blue line indicates, now this is probably not valid, current earnings, current quarter estimates minus 100%. They probably just don't have anything for it yet, but somebody is buying this. You can tell, or traders are buying it because here is the demand, and the demand is really overwhelming supply, except for a little pullback here, but not a lot of selling. I'm going to add this to the group, and let's go up here. Here's Netflix. I talked about that in an earlier video. And here's BABA. Let's find, let me find a stock with, I talked about Take-Two, I believe, in an earlier video. Here's one right here. General Motors. Who would believe that General Motors is making the top 50? But this stock has been on a tremendous roll. That's why we really need to pay attention all the time. I don't know how many times this has come up, but we're going to find out. Now, look at this beautiful chart. This was a long base with a buy here with some great VPA flags, a natural reaction, and then a move up. Been very tight. Strong buying here. Strong buying back here too. During this period, when it was basing, look at this is a quiet period. Now, the beauty of VPA in HGSI is if you don't look for these VPA signals, no, let me put it another way. We would have no idea with a stock like this when it's getting set up to go if we didn't have some indication with the VPA flags. And if you just track the VPA flags, you may or may not find this stock. May not find it here until here when it started moving. Let's do this. I'm going to go into my designer. I'm going to type in GM, General Motors, and I'm going to click on this flag over here. This is why I keep the non-index groups. Let's see if GM's been coming up. I really don't know. I haven't paid much attention to it. So I'm going to scroll up here, and clear back in January, it was showing up. I want more recent information. So it started appearing in it was appearing in July, August, September 1st, stocks and groups moving to the upside. Lots of VPA flags, Best of Woodward and Brown on 10-3, which was just recently. Lots of VPA signals. It didn't start appearing in the top 50 group and inclusion report until the 25th of September. So let's take a look at that. I'll do an alternate I for alternate, that brings this window up. Okay, here's where it first started appearing in the top 50. And that was around 40.5. I mean, it's made a really nice move since then. If you do alternate A and click on these three right here, I can draw a line from here to the close, and I can see that the change, if you look down here at the bottom, has been an 11.5% over 9 periods. Now anybody would take that, no question about it, but where were the early indications on this stock? Let's go back to that and take a look here. Do it again. Let's see what happened here. Okay, General Motors. I'll take this off to avoid confusing it myself both. GM. Now I'll click on this folder again and scroll up to the top. I went too far. So stocks and groups moving to the upside recently. It started appearing clear back in June, May, June, July, August. Really started appearing in September. So let's use September 1st on this. Remember to do this, you type in a single symbol, you click on this manila folder, and when it turns blue, it will go in and find where GM's located. You can see GM's located in about every one of these indexes and ETFs and so on. So I'll take this off, but I'm going to use September 1st on General Motors as a date when it started appearing in the stocks and groups moving up. Now, here it is right here. Alternate I. Whoops, hit the wrong key. Alternate I. That is Friday the 1st, and here it started appearing in September. There were a few. I'm going to do this one more time. Sorry about this. Let's just get these out of the way, and stocks and groups moving to the upside. Here's September 1st. Here it actually started in August on the 23rd and then the 25th in stocks and groups moving up. Okay, so the 23rd was clear back here. Notice this group is moving up, and GM made the list on that day, and that was before it even broke out. So you have to pay attention to the stocks and groups moving up, because you can find some early candidates there. Now I want to get rid of my annotations. You can do alternate E, or you can right mouse click and get rid of them. I had that line drawing up. Now let's do another line. Alternate A, from this date right here up to the closing price. It started appearing back here in stocks and groups moving up. That is a 26.7% move. Trying to do too many things here. 26.7% move over 31 periods. And here is where it started appearing. So anyway, that was a little diversion. I'm just showing you why I save this information all the time. I just added that to my group. It's a little late to be considering it probably, but I just want to see what it does. Anyway, these are, now you have to make sure that you click on that and get rid of the blue area. So to free that up again. Let's go back to the warehouse. I need to get back to I'm moving around very quickly here. These are the stocks, but this is how I use the top 50 group inclusion report. Yes, a lot of these stocks have had huge moves, as I just pointed out with General Motors, but there are other stocks that have not had huge moves. You'll find that as a rule in the top 50, they're mostly in a VPA uptrend. They've been around a while. Let's just do this very quickly. I'm going to go up and featured bullish prospecting scans. I'll look right here at the top one. Click on this. I'm going to look at, you can see that 49 of the 50 are in a long-term bullish trend. That means the flags are in the correct positions. Actually, this includes the index, so there's two that are not in long-term trends. But that's the way I use it, and that's going to be it for this month. I'll be back in November with some more videos.